brothers and sisters, welcome back to the channel. I am your Big Brother Yogi, and we are continuing with book 2 of the library series, The Book That Broke the World. And I'm not getting into plots with either of these books because it would just ruin it. I mean, it's impossible. It's impossible to talk about the plot without spoilers. So this is just about how I felt about these books. The second book is good. You are being introduced to this is not going to be a spoiler. So you're being introduced to a new species, two new species, actually. And I remember when I started reading this book, I thought I was going to get more of The Book That Wouldn't Burn. I thought it was going to be the same direction. When I tell you this was a theme park roller coaster ride, I never knew where we were being taken in the story. We were introduced to new characters and perspectives, okay? The books jump around in perspective. You may be in one character's perspective and then another character perspective. I probably should have mentioned that in the first review, but I really think there was other things that were more important, other topics that were more vital to express. But you're jumping from perspective to perspective. I think in the first one, it was 3 perspectives. Now here, there are 4, I believe. And these new characters are being introduced. And the new character is one of the perspectives that we're following, which could be kind of jarring, especially after The Book That Wouldn't Burn. I believe The Book That Wouldn't Burn is the largest book out of the series. But I digress. The new character, at first I wasn't happy that we are having to get to know a new character and see the world through their eyes. But sometimes we need to learn to trust what the author is doing. And as I was reading it, I accepted that each book is going to be its own thing. I think I knew about 100 pages in to let go of expectation and just allow myself to be carried on this journey, to continue this journey through the eyes of someone new. And I think it's important that we are forced to do that because it gives volume and makes the world feel lived in. Sometimes when you're reading a book, you're only attached to the perspective or who's in the life of the character who has the perspective. I believe that Mark Lawrence did a wonderful job showing that there are other people with other perspectives, with other turmoils, with other oppressions. And it was good. And I think once I accepted that this book is its own book, instead of a continuation, which it was a continuation. It is a continuation, but it's its own book. It's not a standalone. Don't get me started. You have to read the first book to understand the second book, but it is its own book, and it is different. And you are seeing how other species interact with the library and how that library affects them and the relationship that they have with it. I think in this book, you really get a sense of the reach the library has, not just in the current reality, but through time, through space, literally, and through reality. It's not something that exists within reality. It is shaping reality and has a participation in current events. At this point, Lavera is settling into a new way of living, and so is Ivar. And the decisions that they make also contribute to what is happening, because these two are major players. And that's all I'm going to say about that, because again, you have to, anything I say plot-wise will spoil the whole thing. The timeline that I have been referring to now begins to blur. And there is a shift in time and space. So there are some catastrophic things that are happening in this book. And you wonder, in the end of the first book, you're just, your mind is blown, and you're thinking, oh well, I think Mark is going to go this way with the book. I think he can take us there. Your mind is already trying to put the pieces together when you pick this one up, but it's impossible to know what happens next. There's no way that you would guess. And I think that's what's exciting. I wish I could talk about the animal figures in this story, because they're some of my favorite characters. If you have read this series, please, if you know, put "if you know" your nose in the comment section, because again, we cannot ruin this for those who haven't read it, but we want to encourage people to read it, and I want to tie some things in, and it's a real challenge to not want to tell you everything and to talk about spoilers. Hopefully, we can do a spoiler discussion. I'll bring somebody on. Maybe I can take the time to really have spoiler reviews as well. I think it would be easier for me because I want to talk about them. I want to talk about the decisions that these characters are making. I want to talk about the new characters. I want to talk about their relationship and how they intertwine with your protagonists and your supporting protagonists. How the antagonists are being, how the antagonists are making the decision and claiming ownership of this library and the knowledge within it. Even so, it would be nice if I can possibly start doing that. I'm not gonna do that now. Right now, we're gonna stick to the script, all right? But I wanted to. It's difficult to talk about how this story intertwines without getting into the gritty details. I rate this, the book that broke the world, a 3.75. Okay, out of 5, and a 75 out of the love percentage. It's a really good book that is somewhat being carried by the first book, because there was a little bit more world building in like the first half of the book, because we have new characters, and we had to understand these characters, where they come from, their species, and how they choose to interact with the library, and how they found their way into the lives of our protagonists and supporting characters. So there is some growing pains in this, in the middle book, but still, it didn't take away from the series itself. And I really, at the end of this book, I was just at the edge of my seat. And I think Mark Lawrence has a great way of anticipation. Though this book was, to me, not as good as the first book, it is still a damn good book. And it really complements the world building aspect of this universe. And I really enjoyed it. But anyways, you know what to do. Like, comment, and subscribe. Holla back at your boy. I'm gonna catch you next time.